Greetings, dear friends, and welcome once more to our enchanting gathering. We are absolutely delighted to have your enchanting presence with us today. Prepare yourself for an enchanting tale that has long been anticipated. Let us plunge into the depths of our desires. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Timothy, and this is the tale of my life. 15 years have passed since I first beheld the enchanting Nicole, my beloved wife. In the tender days of our youth, we found ourselves entwined in a passionate romance, blissfully unaware of the world around us. We exchanged vows at the tender age of 21, defying the prudent counsel of our parents, who believed we ought to secure our futures before embarking on such a passionate journey. Yet, our passion burned fiercely, and we were resolute in our quest to defy the doubts of others. Our initial years together felt like a scene plucked from a captivating love story. We journeyed across the globe, nestled in a charming apartment, and stood by one another as we navigated the alluring complexities of our 20s. I crafted my empire from the very foundations, pouring my heart and soul into every endeavor, while Nicole, an enchanting artist, conjured exquisite paintings that infused our existence with vibrant hues. We were each other's sanctuary, and our passion blossomed ever more profoundly. As the years gracefully unfolded, our family blossomed with the enchanting arrival of our twin boys, Thomas and Lucas. They swept into our lives like a tempest, bringing both chaos and delight, and Lucy welcomed motherhood with an ardor that was utterly captivating. Even in her weariness, the depth of affection shimmered in her soulful gaze. I poured my heart and soul into my endeavors, nurturing my business with fervor, all to create a flourishing life for my beloved family. Life unfolded like a passionate dance, filled with the tender chaos of diapers, the intimate whispers of late-night feedings, and the poised elegance of board meetings. As the young gentlemen matured, we decided to place them in an esteemed boarding school, yearning to provide them with an exceptional education. With the gentlemen away at their studies, the house took on an air of stillness and longing. Nicole, once the enchanting heart of every gathering, found herself grappling with the unexpected embrace of solitude. Yet, I found solace in the quiet moments, a welcome reprieve as my endeavors navigated through turbulent waters. I found myself captivated by the delicate balance of ensuring my company thrived amidst the swirling tides of uncertainty. It was an enchanting evening, the two of us seated at the dining table, the air thick with unspoken desires. Lucy lifted her gaze from her plate, a hint of intrigue dancing in her eyes as she remarked, "I had a conversation with Thomas today." Her words wrapped around me like a silken ribbon, causing my heart to flutter with an intoxicating mix of desire and intrigue. Thomas, her charming college companion, the gentleman who always appeared just a touch too intimate, a shade too at ease in her presence. I never made a fuss about it, yet there was something unsettling in the way his gaze lingered on her. "Oh, how is he faring?" I inquired, maintaining an air of calm sophistication. "He is thriving," she whispered with a hint of intrigue. Yet her attention drifted, lost in the allure of unspoken desires. She delicately maneuvered her fork through the food, as if preparing for a tantalizing revelation. I lingered in anticipation. Then she cast a lingering look my way, a mix of uncertainty and resolve dancing in her eyes. He has always been my steadfast companion, a constant presence in the tapestry of my life. He comprehends the depths of my soul in a manner that leaves you, her voice lingering in the air, and she offered me a delicate, contrite smile that hinted at something more beneath the surface. I gently set my fork aside. "My desire has faded away. What is it that you wish to convey, my dear Nicole?" She leaned across the table, her fingers gently enveloping mine. Her eyes sparkled with an enigmatic allure that left me breathless. "Of late, a sense of restlessness has been stirring within me," she confessed, her voice laced with an alluring hint of intrigue. "Our existence has settled into a rhythm that feels all too familiar. My heart adores you, yet there are moments when I find myself pondering, is this truly the entirety of our tale?" A familiar sense of guilt began to weave its way into the evening's allure. I found myself ensnared in the allure of my work, neglecting the whispers of the world around me. Perhaps she was onto something intriguing. My apologies, I whispered softly. Though I may have seemed aloof, I assure you, we can mend what has been frayed. Shall we conjure up a delightful plan together? Let us escape together, just the two of us, into a world of our own. Let us indulge in a delightful whim, stirring the air with a hint of excitement. She tilted her head slightly, a veil of mystery cloaking her features. There's more to it than meets the eye. Thomas and I were engaged in a delicate conversation about open relationships. She remarked with a hint of caution on how to infuse a sense of thrill and maintain the fervor in a union. I gazed at her, as if the very earth beneath my feet had suddenly transformed. Shall we explore the allure of an open relationship? Are you suggesting the idea of exploring connections with others? She inclined her head, her gaze lingering on me with an intensity that spoke volumes. It was as if I had stumbled into an intimate exchange, one that felt delightfully forbidden yet undeniably captivating. As if I had stumbled into a world not my own, a delicate dance of fate and desire. Nicole, I murmured softly, striving to maintain a calm composure. Do you find yourself troubled by my presence? She let out a soft sigh. Oh, Timothus, my heart belongs to you. Yet, love transforms and flourishes in unexpected ways. We can establish our own delicate limits. It's not about finding substitutes for one another. It's about indulging in deeper moments together. It might just weave a bond between us that is unbreakable. At first, I remained silent. I found myself lost in thought, contemplating the implications of her tantalizing suggestion. I found myself utterly captivated, unable to fully grasp the enchanting complexity of it all. I gazed upon her, my eyes tracing the delicate contours of her face. A lingering sensation whispered to me that this was no mere whimsy of chance. Perhaps this was not a journey of exploration or personal growth after all. Perhaps she had already crossed that delicate boundary and was merely seeking a way to rationalize her actions. I inhaled deeply, savoring the moment. My dearest Nicole, my heart is utterly yours. Yet, I find it hard to accept that this is the foundation of a truly flourishing union. She parted her lips, ready to dispute, to implore, to sway me into believing that this was not a treachery, but rather a liberation, a beautiful release. Yet, my heart had already whispered its decision. Absolutely not, I replied with a graceful resolve. She gazed at me intently, her expression a tantalizing mystery. In a moment of silent resolve, she gracefully pushed back her chair and rose to her feet. I observed her graceful departure, and as I lingered at the dinner table, a sense of unfinished business hung in the air, tantalizing and undeniable. Not even close. In the weeks that followed, that conversation lingered in my thoughts, a tantalizing whisper that refused to fade away. My heart was captivated by Nicole. There was always an undeniable certainty in that truth. The mere idea of her slipping away, of our cherished family unraveling, was a notion too painful to bear. Yet, I found myself unable to acquiesce to a proposal that stirred a disquieting sensation within me. Indeed, my endeavors have occupied my time quite thoroughly. I toiled through the long hours, often surrendering to the night, all in pursuit of crafting a future that would be ours to cherish. But since when did that give her the right to seek something more tantalizing? Or perhaps another soul beyond the confines of our union? Was I meant to simply acquiesce, to feign indifference to the turmoil within me? No, that was not the essence of love, nor was it a union I could endure. On a serene evening, Lucy and I found ourselves nestled on the patio. It was meant to be a serene interlude, one of those exquisite instances when two souls simply bask in each other's presence, free from the burdens of the outside world. She turned to me, her voice smooth yet laden with unspoken desires. "Have you given it any thought?" she inquired, her voice laced with intrigue. She felt no compulsion to delve deeper into her thoughts. I understood her intentions all too well. I acted without a moment's pause. "Absolutely not," I declared with a resolute tone. "There is no need for contemplation, my dear Nicole." My response remains unwavering. I gazed into her eyes, ensuring she grasped the unspoken allure between us. Shall we indulge in this delightful proposition? That's akin to delivering a fatal blow to this union myself. I am indifferent to what other couples choose to do. That simply isn't who we are. That simply isn't who I am. Her expression shifted in an instant, as if she had been anticipating my misstep all along. How utterly selfish of you, she retorted, her voice laced with a hint of playful indignation. Do you truly believe you can possess my spirit? No one shall deter me from pursuing the pleasures that bring me joy. She leaned in, her words dripping with a tantalizing allure. And should you dare to make a move, I promise to unleash a whirlwind of consequences upon you. I desire it all. I found myself seated, utterly captivated and unable to move. This was more than a mere quarrel between a devoted couple. This was a captivating affair, unlike anything else. In the weeks that followed, Lucy began to embrace the nightlife, often accompanied by her so-called friends, adorning herself in attire that was just a touch more alluring than before. The late nights grew more common, and I began to observe how she averted her gaze upon returning home. In the quiet solitude of our home, I sat enveloped in the soft, flickering light of my study, a glass of whiskey cradled in my hand, feigning immersion in my tasks. From time to time, she would glide in after an enchanting evening spent under the stars. She would let her purse cascade onto the counter, gracefully remove her heels, and flash me a smile that suggested all was as it had always been. You simply must venture out tonight, my dear, she would whisper, her tone playful and inviting. You shouldn't be confined to this place any longer. Indulge in the pleasures of life, savor every moment. I was fully aware of her intentions. She sought to alleviate her conscience, attempting to rationalize her clandestine endeavors by ensuring I was granted the same enticing chance. Yet that was not my desire. I found no allure in pursuing fleeting distractions or feigning contentment with the chaos around me. I lingered in anticipation, hoping she would awaken to the truth that the fleeting excitement she sought beyond our embrace paled in comparison to the exquisite connection we had crafted together. Yet, beneath the surface, a question lingered in my heart. How much longer could I endure this tantalizing wait for her? One enchanting afternoon, I found myself ensconced in a sea of financial reports, blissfully oblivious to the world beyond my study, when Lucy swept in, radiating an irresistible excitement. Can you imagine? Emma has been accepted into college. And not merely any college, but the one that lies just beyond our fingertips. I always sensed her affection for me, yet I never imagined she desired such intimacy. To be honest, it is an exceptional institution, ranking among the finest in the nation. My heart swells with pride for her. I set my pen aside and reclined, allowing her words to envelop me in their intoxicating embrace. Emma, the enchanting younger sister of Nicole, had always held a special place in my heart, and our connection was effortlessly harmonious. She had a certain allure, not quite the innocent newcomer like many of her peers. For the past 3 years, she had embarked on a journey to enchanting yet overlooked corners of the world, serving as a model UN delegate. Such experiences mold one's essence, and Emma had always radiated brilliance, brimming with vitality and an insatiable ambition. I understood the depth of Nicole's affection for her, making this revelation all the more significant. With a playful smile, I cast a lingering glance at Nicole. How utterly delightful. Let us indulge in a celebration, a moment to cherish together. What if we extended an invitation for her to join us for a little while? At least until she discovers her true path. Nicole's eyes sparkled with a captivating allure. Oh, how delightful that would be for her. Before I could utter another word, she was already reaching for her phone, fingers dancing over the screen as she dialed. Emma made her entrance just a week later. She was a delightful surprise, and I discovered that her presence captivated me far beyond my expectations. As we dined together, our conversation flowed effortlessly, her captivating gaze fixed upon me as I shared my thoughts on work. She would respond with insights that both intrigued and delighted me, leaving me pleasantly astonished by her depth of understanding. One enchanting evening, I found myself seated alone at the intimate indoor bar, gazing deeply into my glass. I found myself unprepared for company, yet Emma, my wife's enchanting younger sister, gracefully settled onto the stool beside me, her presence both unexpected and intriguing. Her gaze held a tantalizing intrigue, the sort that sent a shiver down my spine, preparing me for the unexpected that lay ahead. "Ah, so you and Lucy have chosen to embrace a rather unconventional arrangement. I see. How utterly intriguing," she remarked, her gaze lingering, neither condemning nor dismissing, simply taking it all in. I exhaled softly, savoring the moment. "It's not what I envisioned," I whispered, my voice laced with an unexpected weight. "I find myself pondering how much longer I must linger, hoping she will awaken to the truth of her heart." Emma remained silent for a moment, her thoughts swirling in the air like a delicate dance. Instead, she leaned across the bar, her fingers brushing against mine in a small yet intentional caress. "If you ever find yourself in need of a confidant, I shall always be here," she murmured, her voice a gentle caress. "Though I may be the younger sister, I possess an attentive ear and a heart ready to embrace your secrets." Her kindness enveloped me in a delightful surprise. I inclined my head, presenting her with a smile that held an air of intrigue. While I hold Emma in high regard, my attention must remain on my professional pursuits. She appeared to grasp the unspoken allure between us. With a gentle touch, she squeezed my hand ever so slightly, then released it, leaving a lingering warmth in the air. I watched her glide away, then let out a soft sigh as I turned back to my glass. As the weeks unfolded, Emma and I found ourselves entwined in an enchanting closeness. She transformed into my trusted companion, a person with whom I could share my deepest struggles, both in the realm of business and the intricate dance of my marriage. It felt as though Lucy was slipping further away, her moments with me becoming increasingly rare. She was delightfully lost in a whirlwind of joy and excitement. Whenever I sought to voice my worries, she would dismiss them with a wave, insisting I should sort it out while she flitted off to rendezvous with her friends. I discovered a growing desire to bask in the enchanting presence of Emma. She was ever present, poised to lend an ear, to provide a comforting embrace when needed. We would lose ourselves in conversation for hours, often with a glass of wine in hand, and I found myself viewing her as more than merely Nicole's younger sister. As Lucy departed for yet another of her elusive girls' nights, I found myself ensconced in the living room, adrift in a sea of contemplation. Thoughts of divorce had danced through my mind for weeks, yet each time I attempted to unravel the complexities, I found myself confronted by an unyielding barrier, the weight of what I might forfeit. My company was teetering on the edge, and a divorce would shatter the delicate balance I had managed to maintain. The burdens of legal fees, asset division, and alimony loom like shadows, each one a potential dagger that could plunge deep, leaving me ensnared in a web of debts from which I might never escape. Lost in the labyrinth of my own musings, I was blissfully unaware of Emma's entrance until she gracefully settled beside me. She gazed at me for a fleeting moment, her expression more tender than ever, as if she could peer into the depths of my soul. Then, with a hint of playful mischief, she remarked, "You deserve to find your own happiness as well. Lucy isn't the sole adventurer in this enticing journey. Perhaps the moment has come for you to indulge in a little something just for you." Her words pierced my heart with an intoxicating allure. I had devoted countless hours to pondering what might slip through my fingers, yet I had never allowed myself to contemplate what I truly merited. Before doubt could take hold, I drew closer, surrendering to the moment. As our lips intertwined, the world around us faded into oblivion. The unraveling of my marriage, the weight of financial burdens, and the years of unspoken resentment I had kept hidden within me. And when we finally drew away, hearts racing, I realized there was no turning back from the intoxicating moment we had just shared. Following that initial kiss, the world around us began to fade into a delightful haze. Emma and I surrendered to our passions with a frequency that I find hard to confess. And each time a whisper of guilt brushed against my conscience, I gently reminded myself of a singular truth. It was Lucy who first whispered the idea of an open marriage, igniting a spark of intrigue and allure. She was the one who dictated the dance of desire. I found myself delightfully engaged in their presence. Nicole, blissfully oblivious to the unfolding drama within her own sanctuary, busied herself with her own enticing pursuits, quite literally. I was indifferent. I ceased to inquire further. I found no reason to question her whereabouts or the company she kept. I found my own delightful diversion that allowed me to escape the thoughts of my wife's intriguing escapades with other gentlemen. With Emma, every moment was charged with an exquisite urgency, teetering on the edge of longing. Our encounters were more than mere secrets. We were entwined in a passionate embrace, surrendering to a sensation that was both a delightful escape and an irresistible allure. We transcended the mere act of love. We indulged in one another with an insatiable fervor, exploring every exquisite nuance of our connection. Each room in the house transformed into our intimate sanctuary. Every nook, every surface, every fleeting moment we could savor together. It was daring, yet the allure of the moment held us captive, and neither of us wished to pull away. And the most tantalizing twist? I found myself uncertain about my desires. Days transformed into weeks, and my clandestine romance with Emma flourished. Our encounters were shrouded in secrecy, taking place only when Lucy was occupied with her dates or engrossed in her work. The more moments I shared with Emma, the deeper my longing for her enchanting presence became. She grasped the depths of my soul in ways that Lucy had long forgotten, and our exchanges danced between the realms of intrigue and closeness. I began to observe the subtle transformations in Nicole, unfolding delicately over time. One enchanting evening, she glided through the door, and an unsettling feeling washed over me. Her blouse, delicately torn, was hastily concealed beneath a jacket, adding an air of intrigue to her appearance. Lucy had always possessed a discerning eye for her attire. The torn fabric of her blouse was far from a mere mishap. It whispered of secrets and untold stories beneath the surface. "My dear Nicole, what transpired?" I inquired. She cast a fleeting glance my way, her hand trembling slightly as she waved. "Oh, it's merely a trivial mishap, nothing to concern ourselves with." My shirt became ensnared in the confines of an elevator. I moved in closer, my fingers brushing against her jacket, a tantalizing invitation lingering in the air. As I gently unveiled her, I noticed delicate scratches gracing her shoulder. That sound didn't come from an elevator. "Do you truly believe that?" My voice held a serene composure, masking the tumult within, as I traced the delicate lines of these scratches. "I said I'm fine," she snapped, pulling away from me with a sudden intensity. "Kindly let it be if you would." I felt the urge to coax her into conversation, yet I understood that compelling her would only drive her further away if she wasn't prepared to share her thoughts. Thus, I released it into the ether. In the weeks that followed, the hints began to accumulate, each one more tantalizing than the last. On certain evenings, I would discover her cloaked in shadows, dabbing at her tears before conjuring a delicate smile upon realizing my presence. At times, I would notice delicate bruises gracing her arms or hear yet another intriguing tale explaining her tardiness in returning home. She maintained that all was perfectly well. One sultry afternoon, as Emma and I reveled in our closeness, her phone vibrated softly, revealing a message from her Michael. With a flutter of anticipation, she hurried off to school, her heart racing at the thought of settling into her new dorm room. A whisper of melancholy enveloped me as she took her leave. With Emma away at school, Lucy and I discovered ourselves entwined in each other's presence more frequently. It was never my intention. It simply unfolded as a consequence of our shared space. I observed her retreating into the comforts of home, venturing out less frequently. She began to put in the effort, weaving in delicate gestures, like reminiscing about cherished moments, inquiring about my day, and even playfully proposing we sway in the living room as we once did when everything felt right. There was a moment in my past when the mere thought of such closeness with her would have ignited a fire within me, a connection that felt utterly essential. Yet now, I find myself unable to summon the fervor I once felt. I indulged in the moment when required, yet my thoughts danced in a different realm. In moments of truth, my mind often wanders to Emma, a captivating presence that lingers in my heart. She was the embodiment of my desires. Then, one enchanting evening, Lucy returned home, her wrist adorned with a swollen elegance, the skin around it deepening into a captivating bruise. Caught my eye immediately. What transpired? I inquired, driven more by routine than genuine worry. She cast a fleeting glance in my direction, dismissing me with a delicate wave of her graceful hand. Oh, it's merely a dislocated wrist, nothing to fret over. Her voice danced through the air, a delicate whisper that hinted at secrets untold. I would prefer to direct my attention elsewhere. Shall we indulge in a delightful dinner together? It has been some time since we indulged in a delightful experience together. I acted without a moment's pause. I have already secured a reservation for an enchanting dinner. Her demeanor remained composed, yet I sensed she grasped the unspoken words that lingered in the air before I uttered the next phrase. Not in your presence. She chose silence instead. She lingered in silence, savoring the moment. And then, in a moment of silent allure, she turned and glided away. I departed shortly thereafter, rendezvousing with Emma as I had envisioned. It was enchanting, thrilling. With her, everything seemed to fall into place, in a manner that the moments shared with Lucy no longer could. Ah, that enchanting evening? It was precisely the indulgence I craved. The following morning, I found myself at the kitchen table, cradling a warm cup of coffee, when Lucy gracefully entered the room. She remained silent at first, simply standing there, her gaze fixed upon me. Then, in a hushed tone, she murmured, I know you've been entangled with someone, and I can accept that. She paused, a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes, then softly inquired, Do you truly love her? Would you be so kind as to release her for our sake? For our union? I gazed up at her, taken aback by her unexpected presence. This took me by surprise. I cherished my feelings for Nicole, yet I was not inclined to forsake my connection with Emma merely at her behest. In all honesty, it was Lucy who had led me down this tantalizing path. She was the one who whispered the notion of an open marriage, the one who first unraveled the delicate tapestry of what we once shared. And in my moments of longing, Emma appeared like a whisper in the night. Thus, I gently declined her invitation. I simply could not bear the thought of parting with my beloved. Lucy remained silent, her thoughts swirling in a delicate dance of unspoken words. She glided away, her expression a tantalizing mystery. That evening, I reclined in bed, my gaze drifting to the ceiling above. My thoughts were a delightful chaos. What I shared with Emma transcended mere infatuation. It is blossoming into something truly significant. The mere idea of her slipping away sent a shiver through my heart, a delicate ache that lingered like a forbidden secret. Yet I found myself unwilling to sacrifice the bond of my marriage. The tension was intoxicating. At last, weariness enveloped me, and I surrendered to the embrace of slumber. As I stirred from slumber, I noticed the nightstand drawer ajar, a hint of intrigue lingering in the air, and both my work phone and the family phone had mysteriously vanished. As I rose and surveyed the surroundings, a wave of unease washed over me. I rose from the warmth of the sheets and strolled into the living room, where she awaited, a vision that stole my breath away. Lucy was pacing, her cheeks flushed and glistening from tears, while my phone rested on the couch, a silent witness to the turmoil. She had spent the entire night awake. Her voice held a tantalizing edge as she spoke. How could you possibly? I find it utterly astonishing. She gently shook her head, her hands quivering with a delicate tension. As you drifted off to sleep, I couldn't resist the temptation to take your work phone first. I embarked on a quest, my heart fluttering with anticipation, only to be met with disappointment, leaving a blush of shame upon my cheeks. She exhaled softly, a tremor in her breath, and then I turned my attention to the family phone. Her eyes shimmered with a hint of sorrow, and that was the moment I uncovered it all. A flutter of unease stirred within me. The messages and images were all present, each tantalizing note, every alluring photo Emma had shared with me. I had never brought myself to erase them, and Lucy had laid her eyes upon it all. Her voice trembled as she inquired, "Is it truly so? What is it about Emma that captivates the heart? For how long shall we linger in this enchanting moment? I long to hear it from your lips." I released a soft breath, a whisper of longing escaping my lips. It was utterly inappropriate for her to invade my privacy in such a manner. That was the pact we sealed with a whisper, respecting the delicate boundaries of intimacy. She had crafted these guidelines herself when she sought the allure of an open marriage. And now she was playing the part of the wronged one. I folded my arms, a subtle gesture that hinted at my intrigue. "Move past it," I stated with a hint of icy allure. "You desired a union unbound by convention. This enchanting realm is a creation of your own making. It was only when you began to flirt with temptation that the thought of another woman crossed my mind. Emma was my steadfast companion, always by my side. She lingered in the shadows while you chose to depart." Lucy released a soft, trembling sigh, her heart heavy with unspoken emotions. "What is it about Timothy that captivates the heart? What compelled you to treat me this way?" Just as I was about to reply, my work phone chimed, breaking the moment's spell. I stole a fleeting glance at it before turning my gaze back to Nicole. Silence lingered between us, heavy with unspoken words. She had already uncovered the truth, and I had expressed my position with undeniable clarity. Remaining in this moment, bickering will not alter our fate. With a sense of urgency, I grasped my phone and slipped away, drawn into the allure of a pressing affair. Upon my return that evening, Lucy exuded an air of tranquility. Our words were few, and truthfully, I found a certain charm in that silence. In due time, I unraveled the intricate tapestry of events. Each time Lucy returned home, her body marked with bruises and her spirit seemingly adrift, it was clear that fate had woven a more intricate tale than mere misfortune or mishaps. She found herself entangled in difficulties with the man she had selected instead of me. All those nights she kept me at bay. She was navigating the aftermath of a liaison she believed would offer her a more exquisite life. And when that affair unraveled, she believed she could effortlessly glide back into our marriage as if nothing had transpired. As though she could press a hidden reset button, wiping away the traces of her past missteps. The truth is, I may come across as distant, perhaps even a touch self-centered, yet I have forged a bond with her sister that, quite unexpectedly, feels utterly enchanting. And given that her sister appears to embrace the situation, why should I be the one to turn away? After days of evading one another, wrapped in a shroud of silence, Lucy finally succumbed to the tension that had been building between them. She implored me once more, her voice laced with desperation as she urged me to sever ties with her sister. She vowed never to speak of such treachery again, assuring herself that the lesson had been etched into her heart. Yet words can be so effortlessly spoken. Trust, however, is not a delicate matter that can be mended in the blink of an eye. I expressed to her with utmost clarity that if she wishes for me to even entertain the idea of mending our union, she must first reclaim the trust that has been lost. And that is not something I can simply relinquish, for she possesses the art of uttering the most enchanting words. Ever since, she has been making an effort, rekindling the tender gestures that once drew us together, preparing my favorite dishes, reaching out to see how I am, and seeking to bring a smile to my face. Your efforts are evident, yet I find myself questioning the authenticity behind them, wondering if they stem from genuine desire or a hint of desperation. Is she genuinely filled with regret, or is this merely a fleeting moment before she gracefully returns to her familiar, enchanting habits? I'm observing, yet I remain tantalizingly elusive. Not just yet. Pray tell, if you found yourself in my position, what course of action would you choose to take? Would you welcome her back into your embrace and attempt to mend what was broken? Or would you allow her to bear the consequences of her own decisions? I long to know your musings. Leave a note below, and let's indulge in a delightful conversation. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to our next enchanting encounter.